still watching Daybreak on Arise News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, now for a review of what's making the headlines and the papers this morning. We're joined by Kwara Alapinni, an international human rights lawyer. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Daybreak.
It's always a pleasure.
Again. Okay, very quickly, I will take us through what we have on the front pages of the newspapers, and then we can kickstart the conversation. Let's start with our... That's what I want us to do with our sister publication this day. But then it looks as if we still have to wait for that as it arrives. So as soon as we have our sister publication, we'll serve you like it's hot. So in the meantime, let's take a look at Saturday Punch. Saturday Punch, Sadiku, unmasking terrorist leader behind Kwara Massacre. Sadiku, unmasking terrorist leader behind Kwara Massacre. It's got three riders very quickly. Let's take the riders. How Sadiku rose from Boko Haram Shekel's lieutenant to North Central terror kingpin. Women in hijab among bandits, says survivor. 50 residents hospitalized. Government sets up relief committee. All of that you can find on the pages of the Punch, Saturday Punch this morning. What about the wedding carnival? This is interesting, isn't it? Tinubu governors celebrate as Mutawali's 10 children tie knots. Isn't that interesting? Don't you like that? Venom and vacuum. How Nigeria's anti-venom shortage turns stick bites into death sentences. Why some Nigerians think I have drug problem. That's artist David Jones talking right there. Still in the pages of Saturday Punch. Let's check more inside Burkina Faso, Ghana criminal networks where desperate Nigerian migrants disappear. Okay, more on the pages of Saturday Punch. I lost millions to Tinder scammer who promised to marry me. Entrepreneur talking right there. Ondo landlady poisons tenant's son over field. Imagine. I feel incomplete if I don't read every day. Unilag best graduate. 50. Okay, so let's quickly take a look at Sadiku unmasking a terrorist leader behind Kwara Massacre. We've been having, from a lot of northern states. Some people will say that's debatable. Perhaps Kwara is a northern state. Maybe it's not. But then you can see that they're gravitating to other parts of the country gradually. What are your suggestions?
Okay. I think we have to agree that our government is not doing enough. We have to agree that we have a mole inside the military and government. Because if you look at what they call similar character evidence, it all has the same template, and it keeps happening every time. The last time we spoke, I gave you the example of what happened in Plateau State, and you find out that the people themselves have local intelligence, which tells them that attackers are coming. They inform the government does nothing or plays down the extent of their fears and everything, and government goes to sleep, and the attackers come and cause rampage, and then the government starts to react. It happened in Plateau, it's happened in Benue, it's happened in Southern Kaduna, so we have established a similar character evidence. The latest being the one in Kwara State. So the person who's in charge of this village does the rightful thing. I think it's the district head or something, or one of the community leaders. They get this intel, they go to the government and say, hey, attackers are coming, please come and help us prepare. Send your soldiers, send military or whatever. Who else do you go and trust? Who else do you trust? Who else do you go to with information if you cannot trust your government? And then the person who reported and his children were murdered. Can you see the carnage that has gone on there? How do we now keep expecting people to come forth and trust government with information? There was a video a couple of days ago about a herdsman who was herding cows in cattle in Kano. He slung an assault rifle on his shoulders and he was walking, you know, majestically. Nothing's going to happen to him, and nothing has happened to him. Whereas you have people in other parts of the country with as little as a stick or a ding gun, and the government swoops into action. You arrest them. You make examples of them. So people are terrified, and it seems as if there is one set of law for some people and another set of law for the others. So I don't know. We're in a state of shambles. That is just it. We're in a state of shambles. If some, whether you call them local terrorists, Fulani militia, international roaming headsmen with guns or whatever you want to call them, and can just move freely and dislocate people from their farms, their homeland, their ancestral land, and the government is not able to do anything about it. Also, when you get the information, you go to the authorities, you volunteer information and you give them. Authorities do nothing, and you're just, you know, they allow you to be massacred. This is where we are. It's I don't know. We're in a sorry state.
Okay, so how you started, let's end the way you started, that the government hasn't done enough. So what are your quick suggestions?
No, that wasn't the way I started. I said there is a mole in government.
Okay.
We have moles in government and we have moles in the security. Okay. And we have to deal with it. I take you to Kebbi State.
You said it's obvious that the government hasn't done enough. That was the first.
That was an addendum.
Yeah,
well,
okay.
the crucial thing, the crucial part which we need to focus. We have moles in government. We have moles working for this, you know, working for the terrorists or the militia or the headsmen in government. Like
the fifth column elements, you mean?
Yes, we have spies. We have people working in the interest. Government is complicit. Government is complicit. And you know, when a chief of army staff, a former chief of army staff of this country was saying this years ago, that if you rely on the government of Nigeria, you're all going to die. He's been proved right. That was what General T.Y. Danjuma retired said. The same thing with the Emir of Kano a few years ago. He said, you know, if you don't rise up, I think we have gotten to a point in Nigeria, unfortunately, where the government has to consider the citizens should protect themselves. You can't keep telling us not to protect ourselves and we're being killed. Government needs to now look into people arming themselves.
Interesting.
You know, we are getting to that stage now. If government is not going to protect you and your wife and kids, won't you protect them? That's where we are now. Yeah. We have now gotten to the stage where government has to realize there's trouble. Government should not allow citizens to start bearing arms without resort to government. Because that's what's going to happen. If you don't defend yourself, you're going to die.
Yeah. Okay, on that note, let's quickly flip to Saturday Telegraph. Kwara Massacre, yet again. Victims are locked in shops. Houses set ablaze, and it's got 2 riders. Over 100 may have been abducted. Wife of monarch, her mom, 3 kids among them. Second rider, military handicapped. Too much ungoverned spaces. Colonel Luckily is saying that. And then we've got our Auditor General's report indicts FCT area councils over 100 billion naira infractions. And it's got a rider, Abuja polls, federal government promises adequate deployment of security personnel. And of course, PDP faction warns Wiki's group against forceful occupation of Secretariat. Part of Abuja, Nasarawa, Niger, Kogi thrown into darkness. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, snake bites yet again. Friends, neighbors recount last moments of Ifunaya, and it's got a rider. She was a sweet, peaceful, respectful girl. Neighbor, that's a neighbor's account. You can find the details of that on page 30 of Saturday Telegraph. And yet, election results. Lawyers condemn Senate's rejection of mandatory e-transmission. With the rider, Upper Chamber has betrayed trust of Nigerians. Itodo, page 5 of Saturday Telegraph hashtag. Okay, away from the massacre, the law, let me take you up on Auditor General's report indicting FCT area councils over 100 billion naira infractions. What about that? An Auditor General being indicted.
We had an Auditor General that was alleged to have stolen 80 billion naira the other time. Yeah. What happened to him? He got married to a younger person. He took a younger bride. That's what happened. And everybody was clapping and saying, oh, he's, rejuvenated himself. So that's it. So you're
not expecting much to come out of there?
Well, didn't the president underwrite the debt of the NNPC in the trillions. So the fish starts rotting from the head.
Interesting. That's a heavy blow. Well, let me move quickly. Well, PDP faction warns weakest group against forceful occupation of Secretariat. Page 4 of Saturday Telegraph has got that. What would you see becoming of PDP anyway, before or by the elections, by 2027 general elections?
I don't know. What I know is that they are in deep trouble. And those troubles are not looking like they want to go away very quickly. The last time I was here, I was telling your colleague that we now have insurgency and counter-insurgency in the PDP. So that's worrisome. And the president himself has said it's a pleasure to see them in disarray. So, it is what it is. I don't know what's going to happen to the PDP or any other party whatsoever. The best that will happen is they'll probably just scratch the surface, because whether you like it or not, this mathematical formulation being done by the ruling party, making sure that all the state governors are decamping or moving into APC, has effectively handed the presidency to the incumbent. The only person who can stop him from being president is himself, if he decides not to run. Well, of course, if the Almighty decides otherwise, I think it's, if you have 36 states and maybe 25 of them or so are already in the ruling party, as you know, the governors are the lieutenants and the foot soldiers in their state. And if you have a situation where a governor wants to do a second term, he's definitely going to win that state. Yeah. If you have a governor who is going out, he wants to install a puppet there to continue his wishes, which is what usually causes the issues. Yeah. Caused it in River State, caused it in one or two other states as well. So there you go.
Okay, let's move very quickly. We can trust. 7 trillion naira for presidents. Nigeria still in darkness. 7 trillion naira for presidents. Nigeria still in darkness. That's talking about the amount budgeted for
I think it's a shame.
The power sector. Yeah,
I think it's a shame. And if you look at even the PDP that we're talking about, who said they budgeted $16 million for electricity, and after 16 years when they were in power, well, we didn't have any electricity, and nobody's been held accountable. Nothing has happened. And my question then, how much does it really cost to build a whole new grid for our country, a brand new shining grid, especially at the time when the PDP said they were going to do it, when the Naira was still very much powerful, almost, maybe like 150 to the dollar.
2014? Like
no, I'm talking about 1999. When PDP came in, they spent a stretch of 16 years. Yeah, I remember when I was in law school, the dollar was less than 100 Naira. Thereabouts, especially when General Sani Abacha was leaving. He had pegged the dollar to 20 naira, and now on the black market you get it for like 80 there. I went to law school a year after General Sani Abacha died. There wasn't much of a difference in the price. A lot of people forget that we used to buy tickets to the United Kingdom for less than 100,000 naira. When I was moving back to Nigeria when I was going to the UK for my studies, it was less than 100,000. Granted, I got a student rebate. When I was coming back, I didn't get a student rebate because I wasn't a student anymore, and I was maybe like 105 or something. And I decided, I'm going to patronize Arik because Arik is Nigerian brand. I wasn't going to use BO or anything. It's shocking now where we are with flight tickets, even within Nigeria. At Christmas time, return tickets from people who went to the eastern part of the country, when the Calabar for the Carnival, was almost like 500,000 return ticket. And that's shocking.
Interesting. Now, Turkey, Wiki factions renew battle for Secretariat. Page 16 of Weekend Trust has that one. Amount of labor wiped out in 48 hours. Tomato farmers cry out. Page 33 is got that bone molded in ABU. Story of Professor Aisha Hammond. Page 25 has got that one. And of course, before we go to the foreign newspapers, I need to take it up on one or two stories more. Let's see Saturday Sun. Saturday Sun. Community combs bushes for dead bodies. abducted residents.
It's talking about the Kwara massacre.
Yes, it's still the Kwara
that's
killing.
it. And I was supposed to be in DC last week for the International Religious Freedom, or this week. I was supposed to leave last week for the International Religious Freedom Summit, and that's what's dominated the IRF summit. I mean, Nigeria is usually a topic when it comes to this, and then with the issues of the Christian genocide in the Middle Belt, and the federal government eventually decides to address this, and we now have incessant attacks, especially targeted at religious sites. Kwara State now seems to be the epicenter, and it's shocking. And you see, the government cannot deny it anymore that that this is going on. People just wake up one day, 200 people dead, 165, and we seem to have just become immune. Nothing seems to faze us, but these are not chickens, these are not goats, these are citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yeah, and talking about citizens' rights, banditry forces 103 churches to shut down in Taraba. That's canned, talking, says 25 killed in 3 days. Thousands displaced. B27 has got that one. 2027, citizens' rights. Again, 2027, increase your intelligence gathering. Increase your intelligence gathering efforts. INEC charges security agencies. B25 or Saturday, Sun has got that one. 2027, increase your intelligence gathering efforts. INEC charges security agencies. So how do you see the insecurity, the alarming security situation in Nigeria now impacting the elections in 2027?
And this is the reason why we should look towards electronic voting. The whole world has become, an electronic village, so to speak. And, we shouldn't still be relying on analog transmission of results or relying on the discretion of an INEC official, okay? The reason why the thugs are able to snatch ballot boxes is just because we're analog and we're still thumbprinting. We could make the majority of the voting exercise electronic, and leave a certain percentage for analog casting of votes, maybe for old people or people who are not tech savvy. Electronic transmission or electronic conduction of the elections saves money. You don't have to keep deploying the number of mopol and soldiers, everything out onto the streets, because we vote for Big Brother on our phones in the house. We transact, we move money on our phone, which is the most precious thing to us, apart from human beings, children, and everything. They pay your salary. I can't remember the last time you must have stepped into a bank to do anything. As a matter of fact, most people of our generation and younger avoid going into the banks. So it shows that we can vote electronically and we can transmit these results electronically. So it's cheaper, it saves lives, and everybody stays in the comfort of it. And you're going to have more people captured in the voting process, especially young people. Nobody wants their head being broken. And then to have the National Assembly, the National Assembly should not try Nigerians. The way this thing is going. You see, the way this thing is going, it's going to, we're very resilient people and we keep pushing, but the way this thing is going and they're refusing to listen to the voice on the street or the voice of the people, and this is what the people want. We're going to have a situation where the people are going to really show their annoyance. And I don't know why it seems our politicians are in an abusive relationship with us. Because this is emotional abuse. Professor Yakubu did it the last time. He lured young people, he goaded them, he saying, oh, you're going to be transmitted. He was saying this on BBC before the internet. And then at the end of the day, the credibility went puff into the wind. Imagine. And it was sanctioned by our courts, unfortunately, to say whatever he was saying was just fantasy. He went on a frolic of his own. These things were not enshrined in the law, so they are not implementable. So the onus goes back to the National Assembly to put it in the law, and then they're saying no again in a very nice and tactful way.
Manner. Okay, so let's quickly move very fast. The foreign newspapers, let's see what we have on the front pages of the foreign dailies. Daily Express, death wish, TV license fee hike hurts us all. We're saying that. Want to check the Daily Express. Check the Daily Express for the detail. The Daily Telegraph, foreign Daily Telegraph. Police raid Madison homes. That's in the UK. The London Met Police have been raiding his homes. And then NHS hires foreign doctors to treat patients from the beach. Oh, where do you have that? You want to check for the details. What about the Times? The Times. Kate Harrington, Rehab, Fame, Fatherhood and Me, How I Keep the Weight Off at 62. Right. Reina, I warned Starmer not to appoint Madison. What about Financial Times Weekend? Financial Times Weekend. I always like to close with that, so I'll come back to that. Or let's get to the Guardian Foreign. The Guardian Foreign. I'll come back to Financial Times Weekend, which I always like to close with. So, the Guardian Weekend reviewed Labour Minister handed files on reporters. Revealed the Labour Minister handed files on reporters. The modern snoring epidemic. What about that? You want to check for that if you snore or you know someone who snores. Inside Epstein's world of powerful men, the Saturday read. The Daily Mail, giant Winter Olympics war chat. What about Epstein, the toxic fallout? Police knock on door of Madison's £12 million London home and remove boxes of evidence. You find all of that on the pages of Daily Mail today. And of course, we have iWeekend 2026 Winter Olympics. What about that? You want to check the details in iWeekend today. Madison's homes raided by police. London Met doing their job right there in London. Best days out without the crowds. Don't wait for spring. Check iWeekend for the details of that. 2026 Winter Olympics. What to watch and when. What to watch and when. GB's best medal chances, page 6 of iWeekend will give you all of that. No end in sight. Weather, no end in sight. Rain every day so far in 2026 and more to come. Aberdeen has seen no sunshine for 2 weeks. Worst since at least 1957. That's a lot. Let me close this morning with Financial Times Weekend. Let's close with Financial Times Weekend right away. Stormer allies in economy warning. Stormer allies in economy warning. With the riders, it's got 3 riders. Bid to head of challengers. Fears of a trust style rates crisis. Police raid Madison homes. You want to check Financial Times Weekend for the details of those stories. KPMG gets money off its own audit by arguing AI makes accounting cheaper. KPMG gets money off its own audit by arguing AI makes accounting cheaper. You want to check the details of that on the pages of Financial Times Weekend. The limit of liberalism, philosopher Michael Sandel. Financial Times Weekend magazine will give you the details of that. And we're pricing the future. Predictions chief Tariq Mansour is talking about that. A big thank you to Kwara Alapinni for being part of the show this morning, Daybreak. Hopefully we'll have you again.
It's a shame we couldn't treat Peter Mandelson, Lord Mandelson, the Prince of Darkness.
Maybe
the real prince didn't survive it. Maybe he will.
Yeah, the story is still unfolding. I'm very sure I can bet by next Saturday we'll have
Prince
time
Andrew
to
didn't
talk
survive
about
it.
that.
The Prime Minister is battling for his life, and Lord Mandelson has been recalled as ambassador to the United States. This shows that the system works in some places. You can imagine if an ambassador was recalled and in this whatever, we probably would have quashed the story in Nigeria.
You bet. So we'll gladly have you back next Saturday then to talk about this and more stories.